Here's my long-awaited guide for sniping in Sea of Thieves, so you can consistently hit shots like this. The cannon. First, I'm going to cover some of the basics and then go more in depth to explain my process and how I'm able to consistently hit crossbow snipes. There are two mechanics to get used to that will be helpful while sniping. Though not 100% required, they do provide an advantage. That is quickscoping and reload cancelling. You should never fire the Eye of Reach without ADSing, but you can fire without scoping, as when you ADS you can fire before the scope appears, resulting in a quickscope shot. This means that you don't get any scope crack in the middle of your screen, so you need to aim before you scope. It can be helpful to use a piece of tape, blue tack, or monitor safe marker on the middle of your screen. But after you fire, there's an annoying delay before the reload starts, and an animation that covers your screen shows. You want to avoid this by stowing, swapping, or sprinting as you shoot. This is reload cancelling. You can shoot and as you shoot sprint for a second, it'll skip it. You can shoot and as you shoot stow twice, so it stows and unstows. By default that's X. Or you can shoot, swap to your other gun and swap back. Sometimes that can be a little slower, same with stow. Optimally, you want to do the sprint because when you're on flat ground, you can sprint and it does it just in one frame. But a lot of the time you can't do the sprint one because you're not on ground or you can't move forwards, because you have to be moving forwards to sprint in slot. So if I'm moving backwards and I want to do it, I try and sprint, it won't do anything. So I need to swap cancel there, or I need to stow cancel there. But when I'm moving forwards, like I'm always going to do a sprint cancel because it's just like instant. If you do stow cancel, then you have to press the button twice. Or if you do swap cancel, you have to swap back and forth, and that can slow you down a little bit. When sniping crossbow, the easiest way to be more consistent is to take easier shots. This simply means don't shoot unless your opponent is stationary relative to their bow. So if they're holding cannon, wheel, rigging, harpoon, etc., if you want to hit every snipe, you should only take these shots. In practice, you don't only have to take them, but they will greatly increase your accuracy. This generally comes under shot selection, which is the judgment you make before firing if it's worth firing the shot. Numerous factors go into this, including ammo, boat pressure, wave/rock, speed, unpredictability factors, like the opponent not standing still. One thing that, if overlooked, will cause you to miss constantly is lead and bullet drop. Lead is essential in Sea of Thieves as bullets are projectiles and are affected by your velocity and your opponent's. Hitting your shots will depend on your relative velocity to your target. If I'm standing still and a boat is moving forwards, I need to aim ahead of the boat so that my bullet hits. If I miss, I need to watch the trail and adjust my next shot so that it hits. No one hits every shot. Similarly, if I am moving and my opponent is stationary, I need to aim behind the opponent, such that my bullet travels into them. My bullet's trajectory is affected by my velocity at the time of firing. Bullet drop isn't as important as lead, as in most practical cases it's not a concern. Once you're close enough to see the opponent clearly in aim, there isn't really any bullet drop, as a sniper has a long distance before it becomes a factor. At the start of an hourglass game though, before you can see the other players super clearly, they are far enough away that there is some bullet drop to account for, and you should aim above your target. One thing to note is that there are lots of parts of the boat that you can shoot through. The cannon mainly, but also the stairs, parts of railings, and the grate. Now, to put these basics into realistic scenarios, like an hourglass game. At the start of the game, when boats are far away, you'll need a lot of lead. Assuming both boats are moving relatively fast, roughly half sail, and at the very start of the game, you'll need to account for bullet drop too. The best way to know if you need to account for lead or bullet drop is to fire a shot, then watch the bullet fly, and adjust your next shot. Here, you won't have taken many holes yet, so it's a good time to spam snipes at cannon. Just watch the trail and make sure it's going through the opponent's cannon. In the mid-game, boats are in an orbital or a parallel. In a parallel, it's quite simple to snipe crossbow. You just aim at the cannon, and if you're faster than their boat, you aim behind them, and if you're slower than them, you aim ahead of them, as they'll sail into your bullet. In an orbital though, it's still relatively simple. You just spam to the left of the cannoneer, as you should be giving left side, and adjust left and right with your snipes after watching your bullet trails. In endgame situations, both boats are generally stationary, and you're aiming directly at the opponent. Smart opponents will be actively dodging you and sometimes sniping back as well. This is when shot selection is most important. Wait for them to be holding cannon for an easier shot, but note that they will likely avoid grabbing cannon if you're holding scope because of the glint. This is why we quickscope. The other main factor in stationary situations is the boat rocking and slight drifts, making boats move forwards, backwards, up and down. So you still need to consider when to fire based on your boat rocking and the drift of both boats. The most important tip I can give you is that it all simply comes down to practice. The more you spam snipes, the more you will hit. That's how you hit every snipe. No more missing now. Bye bye.